can be detected. Every time that scribble shows up, we find it, we map it, and all of a sudden, if you have 50 of these scribbles, or even if you have 2, you technically have a problem. We'll go to the next part of the slide, next presentation, please. And so, things I'm hearing about that concern me, and this is what concerned me when I looked into this. So I'm the guy that told the world that, hey, that little bitty barcode that means a product can talk to the internet. And so things started to be tracked that way. Everything you see sitting out here on the committee's table that has a barcode can now talk to the internet. That's what I'm responsible for, making the physical world talk to the internet world. What bothers me in this process is to continually hear there is no, when you get adjudication, there's no paper trail, or that's kind of wiped, or you can't tell what the predecessor was. That's disturbing. That's the first rule of forensic audits, and if it was an accountant in a corporation, you'd be fired. If you ran the financials for a public company and the numbers didn't match, and all of a sudden you couldn't adjudicate it and show the records, you'd go to prison. Now this is as simple as scanning a loaf of bread at a grocery store. When you walk in and buy a loaf of bread and it works off that barcode, that's your vote. You're walking in saying, I want this bread, this is my candidate. You walk up to the cash register, you're handing it to the checker, or you're doing it yourself. That's basically the polling machine. And when that scan happens, it goes, a loaf of bread, $2. That's what you expect, that's what you committed to. But if all of a sudden that scan said, sorry, it's a transmission change for your car, you owe us $5,000, you would have a conniption fit. What's sad about this is we're not even performing at standards that we expect out of grocery stores. We're not even performing at standards that you would accept from your online purchase. When you fill that shopping cart, you expect that shopping cart to be exactly what you chose. And if you had a problem with Amazon because they shipped you 20 things you don't need but still charge you, you would be on the phone to Amazon complaining. They would have to audit it, figure it out, and make it right. But we don't do this in elections. We play hide and seek with documents. We don't turn documents over, which are the property of the taxpayer. Federal law states this has to be available for 22 months for audit and inspection. That is a federal law, ratified many times over. But yet somebody can sit and say, no, we don't want to show you. You don't have access to it. That is an issue. All of these issues we can fix if we can get access to the artifact that the voter intended. And what is that? That's the physical ballot. I heard about testimony about Q codes. They wouldn't run in the machine. The one thing that was common that wouldn't run into the machine was what? You heard it, the Q code. And then you heard it had to go through a secondary audit, and it still didn't run for the employee of Dominion. They had to do it over and over and still didn't run. You know what the common denominator is in that? The code. If you go to an ATM, put in the card because you have the card, but put in the wrong PIN, what happens? Reject, 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 reject. That paper ballot was reading that code. That code was what was making it fail. It should never occur. Ever. What it was really telling you is I've seen this before, I've seen this before, I've seen this before, and they're using the code to adjudicate it out. It's a trick in systems commonly used. Let's take a look at some of these things. This is a Fulton County ballot. You can see the voting area of Fulton County on this one. We refer to it as O8L. It narrows down to Roswell, Georgia. These are physical ballots. You know, people got extra ballots. Some people got 5 ballots. Some people got 10 ballots. Tremendous amount of Texans got Georgia ballots. All kinds of interesting things happen, right? If you ever lived in Georgia, even people that moved away 10, 11, 12 years ago, they got ballots to vote in Georgia. So here you're looking at a ballot in Fulton County. This particular county, not according to my data, but according to public data, says 67.7% of the people voted Democrat. I'm just pointing this out so you understand. I use traditional coding, the blue for the Democrat side, the red for the Republican side. Let's take a look at the next ballot, please. This is a ballot for Buckhead, Georgia. This particular one says that 69.2% voted for the Republican Party, right? This one is what we call our ballot. Will you roll back to the first one? Look at the top right corner of that ballot in the block that says Fulton County. Now go to the next ballot. Look at the top right corner right there that says Roswell or Buckhead. Why is there not a tracking code in that ballot? That's the code that makes it cross-checked to the signature. Why is it absent? There are a lot of these inconsistencies in these ballots, and they run along party lines. Next slide, please. So here's the sample. Yes, sir.